Okay. It's okay. It's from Hashem. Okay. In other words, he brings the aspect of Malchut among the nations, giving them the power to rule. For example, let's say there's a mitzvah that's called Lo Yeh Lacha. It's the second of the 10 commandments. There should be no other God besides me. Azai mecharef atzeruf atov shel dibor. And you destroy that mitzvah combination, because the mitzvah combination is perfect. It gives you life force. It gives you energy. Every mitzvah gives you life. But let's say, for instance, you get involved in some type of avodah zarah. And again, this doesn't necessarily mean outright, I'm going to go, bow down and worship a cow. It could simply mean that I'm choosing something else besides Hashem in this moment. Then what happens is that mitzvah of Lo Yeh Lacha, don't have another God besides you, the letters then flip around and they become a negative letter combination. Uvonet tzeruf ra, it builds a negative letter combinations. V'nechakach hatzeruf hazeh al atzmotav, and it becomes etched onto your etzem, onto your bones. V'nokem bo, and then it accuses you. K'moshe katuv, like it says, Avonoteichem hitu alei. It is your averot that have turned away these things. Uchtiv, and it says, Timotet rasha ra'ah, that the death blow of the person who's not connected to Hashem is his ra, is his actions, his negative actions. However, but when you do teshuvah in front of a tzaddik, in front of a Talmid Chacham, yotzei ma'atzmotav ha'otiot achokim aleihem, goes out from your bones these negative letter combinations, v'naseh mehem adibur shel divui. Avidui, sorry. Adibur shel havidui. And what happens is you flip the letters back to a positive letter combination. So what he's saying is an unbelievable thing here. Before you go, only a couple minutes. You're not allowed to. Only a couple minutes. We're almost done. Almost done. Why does the Gemara say that a tzaddik can't stand in the same place as a Baal Tshuva? Okay, nice. It's a nice answer. Okay, good. No tzaddik can stand in the same place as a Baal Tshuva. Why? The answer is not even complicated. It's very simple based on what Rabbi Nachman just taught, and it's so deep. When a person does a mitzvah, he gets a mitzvah. When a person does an avera, we're learning that it then becomes a part of his essence, so to speak, and it causes him negativity in his life until it becomes removed from him. But listen to this. Rabbi Nachman says when you do tshuva in front of a tzaddik emet, to Hashem, then those letters which were a negative letter combination become a positive combination. What's that called? A mitzvah. Meaning, let's say for instance, a guy has 600 mitzvot, and he did 600 averot. And you have another guy, he just did 900 mitzvot, no averot. And the guy who comes to Uman for Rosh Hashanah, and he does tshuva to Hashem in front of the tzaddik, then not only does he have his 600 mitzvot, but his 600 averot come out and flip into mitzvot. Now how many mitzvot does he have? 1,200. All of his averot become mitzvot. This is the reason that the tzaddik can't stand in the place of the Baal Tshuva, because the Baal Tshuva actually has more mitzvot than the tzaddik.
That doesn't mean that Gemara doesn't mean that the Baal Tshuva is above the tzaddik Omer.
I'm not saying above. I say he can't stand in the same place.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just telling you what the Gemara says. Can't stay in the same place, and I'm explaining you one of the reasons. Because about tshuva's averot all become mitzvot when he does tshuva from love. What does tshuva from love mean? The gematria of love, ahava, is 13. The gematria of echad, unity, is 13. Love and unity are connected. Now, why would a person ever go do tshuva to Hashem in front of a tzaddik and travel and pay money and go through all these maniyot in order to do something like that? Because he must believe that everything happens from Hashem, otherwise he would never go through all of those difficulties to do so. That's called echad. He has da'at. Because he has da'at, he's going to make a decision that based on nature makes no sense. But based on inner spiritual reality, it's the only thing that makes sense. And that's called tshuva from love. And when you do tshuva from love, all of your averot become mitzvot. And then, it's better than even if you never did the averot to begin with. Because the averot itself becomes a mitzvah that you couldn't have had. And this is why the Mashiach comes from David and not from Yosef. Because Yosef is the tzaddik emet. He's pure. He never did anything wrong. But David is the Baal Tshuva. And all of his averot become mitzvot. And that's even higher. Does anybody have any questions from tonight's lesson?
I have two questions.
Go ahead.
So, you said earlier how if someone he goes through something and is unable to do it, he shouldn't be upset. Like he goes dating, he's not married, or he tries business and he doesn't succeed. So he shouldn't be upset because everything is from Hashem.
100%.
Right, but let's say during that time he could have been doing something else. So technically, if it is from Hashem and God wanted him to go through this ordeal, that thing that he went through is worth more than what he could have been doing, which is, let's say, learning Torah or an actual mitzvah.
There's no could have been doing. He did it. That means that Hashem wanted. Again, listen to what I'm telling you. If he did it, that means it was Hashem's ratzon, because nothing can happen unless Hashem wants it to. So you can't say he could have been doing something else.
I'm saying,
I know what you're saying.
if someone were to
Think about what I'm.
God,
Again, think about.
you would never want to do anything.
Again, you have a free choice at every moment. Once the moment has passed, it's what Hashem wanted. At the moment that you choose, you have a choice. So there's no point on reflecting what was Hashem's ratzon, because it must have been for the best. But now I have a new choice. This moment, what do I do with this moment? So there's no sadness.
So I'm saying you would never want to uptake anything else in the future.
No, that's the opposite.
You want to be learning Torah.
Why? Hashem wants you to.
Yeah, I'm saying that's all you'd want to do.
Okay, so why don't you?
Because then you won't actually succeed with anything else.
Who said that?
Because you
Who-
aren't succeeding as of right now, or you haven't been.
Why not? I'm doing it, and I'm being matzliach, so what's the problem?
Now, what do you mean?
Why are you saying that?
For example, I'm saying
No, how am I going to give you an example from someone else? Not someone else.
50 times and he just hasn't succeeded. So he's like, okay, I'm wasting my time dating anyways. Might as well just learn Torah instead.
Okay, we're talking about doing things for the right reasons. If you're learning Torah in order to escape your life, that's not a good reason to learn Torah.
It's not an escape. You get scarred for learning.
Benny, I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question. When you make a choice, why are you making a choice? There's called learning lishma, and there's called learning lo lishma. Now, if you learn lo lishma, then eventually, if you don't give up, you will come to learn lishma. This is what the Gemara says. Okay? However, when you're making a choice in your life, you need to ask yourself, why am I making this choice? A lot of people, they learn in yeshiva, in kollel, because they do not want to work, because they don't want to work. And there are other people that they learn in kollel mamish because they know that Hashem put this on the planet to do that, and it's the highest thing that they could do. Then it would be an avera for them not to do that. And only you know what the answer to that question is. And it's the same thing when you do something for your wife. You could do something, your wife wakes you up in the middle of the night and says, hey, can you go get me ice cream from these 99-cent store? It's 3 a.m. and you're not working, I'm working. Okay? So you can either do it because you don't want her to be upset at you, or you want her to help you tomorrow when you want to take a nap, and yeah? So that's one way. Or you can do it because you love her. You can do one, the first way is so that she will reciprocate, which is called conditional love. Or you can do it because she asked you to, which is called unconditional love. Very simply, if you ask Hashem, Hashem, please help me to move to the land of Israel. Okay? If Hashem gives it to you, but with in mind, I'm going to give this to you if you spend every day fasting. That means He's not giving you because He loves you. He's giving you because He wants reciprocation. But if Hashem loves you unconditionally, He'll give you regardless. And that's what He does. If your love is based on a condition, then you don't love. Love is not conditional.
I have a lot of questions.
Okay, let's go with the first one.
Like many people go to Uman and they do this, they confess their sins to Hashem in front of a Emet Tzaddik.
Okay.
So like how am I supposed to believe?
Guys.
Am I supposed to believe that all of those people now feel that everything Hashem does is for the best?
Great question. We need to finish the lesson for you to be able to understand completely what this concept means. And therefore, if I answer the question now, I would be doing you an injustice.
You want me to come back?
No, I'm just being honest with you. There's more going on here, and this is like a very general question. Obviously, there are people who go there, they do tshuva in front of the tzaddik, and they don't come to this revelation, this recognition. What's the reason? Because there's other mitigating factors. But if a person does it for the right reasons, it can't be that something that Rabbi Nachman says is not true. It never happened.
Okay, that's a good answer.
Okay.
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 So, like.
We'll do one at a time, and we'll flip around.
Is there going to be anybody who could say any prayer they want in front of tzaddik, or it has to be like anything written, like how would you?
So there is a standard vidui,
Okay.
but the main part of vidui is that you mean what you say.
Wait, is it, if you say those words that the Rambam says to say, that sentence?
We say it after we say the mincha, after we say shachrit, we do vidui. There's a vidui like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a shamnu, bagadnu, right? But there is also just vidui that you just talk out. And Rabbi Nachman says when you come to pray, the best thing that you could possibly do is just mean what you say. Okay? It's very, very simple. So therefore, when you're there by the grave, you're going to be doing tikkun klali with everybody anyway. And you're going to be doing maybe vidui with everybody or by yourself, whatever. But you need to make sure that you talk from your heart about whatever it is that you want to talk about.
So a person that sinned,
Yes.
and he became a tshuva
Yes.
out of love.
Yes.
So all those that wrong that he did
Become mitzvot.
So it's out of his bones. It's still in his bones.
No, it's out. That means they become mitzvot. After you do vidui devarim in front of the tzaddik.
Or you have to do it anyways. So if you don't go to the tzaddik and you do.
Then
love,
it leaves you to a lot of extent, but it never leaves your bones.
no matter what you do, it's still in your bones.
Yes. It's not just Uman, it's any real tzaddik. I'm just giving you a practical example and one that I can take to the bank. I can't tell you anybody else because I'm teaching you, and I can't sleep at night if I don't teach you something that I believe is the truth, for sure. So other people, it could be that they are, but I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to tell you. You're good if you go there, you can accomplish this Torah. Okay? There's one that I know for sure, and that's the one that I went to last year, and I'm going to this year, and that is Rabbi Nachman Fega.
Necessarily has to be Rosh Hashanah.
It doesn't have to be Rosh Hashanah.
Knocking just like 2 stones, 3, 4 birds in 1 stone.
Yeah.
You know, but if you can go for Hanukkah, which is another time, or Shavuot,
And
so
the
just
line
a little
isn't as
bit.
bad.
What?
The line isn't as long.
It has nothing to do with the line.
It's not about the line. If you're in the
Well, you have
vicinity.
more time for
Okay,
Rabbi Nachman?
listen, you don't have to do it like on the Rebbe's grave like that, okay? when you're in the radius,
You're in the
area,
vicinity,
in
in
Uman, in your room, you don't have to be by the Tzion. You're
okay.
good.
And
That's how it works?
yes,
I'm saying, yeah. It's
yeah.
better
You don't
to
have
go
to be.
close.
You don't. It's nice if you're able to go close. You don't have to be. I saw very, very big tzaddikim that they sit in desks which are feet away. Okay, it's fine. You have to be in the vicinity. Okay. Yeah. How is David a Baal Tshuva? Did you hear about what he did with? Yeah. This is the main episode, but the basic bottom line is that Yosef corresponds to the sphere called Yesod. Yesod is connected to the tzaddik. The tzaddik is the concept of a person that he has no averot. Okay? He's completely pure, like Yosef was. But then there's something called Malchut, which represents the Balei Tshuva and the Gerim, that initially they are not tzaddikim, but they become. And when they become, they actually have greater authority than if they never did. And actually the Gemara says explicitly, you're not allowed to anoint a king who has a completely uncheckered past. He needs to have been through things in his life before you can actually make him a leader of the Jewish people. Yes, for sure he's a Baal Tshuva.
The whole thing with Bathsheba, the whole thing that Hashem tested him
The Gemara says explicitly, David was not Rui, he wasn't fitted to do what he did with Bathsheba. So, what do you mean he wasn't fitting to do it? He did it. And the answer, says the Gemara, is because Hashem wanted him to be able to teach the Jewish people about tshuva. How could he teach the Jewish people about tshuva unless he's doing tshuva? There's a very explicit parak in Tehillim where he's doing tshuva to the tzaddik, to Natan. I said it today. Okay. What? Yeah. Natan comes, the leader comes, and he does tshuva to Hashem in front of him. That's that whole parak. You know what I'm talking about. Any final questions?
I wanted to ask a question. I wanted to ask.
Is it related to the class, or should I turn it off?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to ask questions. So
No, I'm just asking if it should be on the class or
I
not.
think so.
Okay.
So you said that the Mashiach ben Yosef, right? The Mashiach ben Yosef, he never sinned. He's a tzaddik emes, like he's not, never no blemish. Yet Mashiach ben David, he's the Baal Tshuva.
Yeah.
So Rabbeinu is the Bechina of Yosef in that extent?
I think so.
Okay.
I think
That
so.
means he never sinned.
No.
And who is?
How is he going to
And
teach me
Mashiach, like Mashiach.
Ben
Mashiach is
David?
going to be Ben David. That's
We're
Rabbi
gonna-
Hassan or
yeah.
somebody else, like,
We'll see.
we'll see. Okay.
How is he going to teach people
that's
how
right.
to do tshuva if he never...
He's going to have done tshuva. King David is king forever. Whatever King David did was not just for his life. That means that when the ultimate Melech HaMashiach comes, he will have to be parallel to David.
So in that regards, if Rabbeinu,
By the way, and there's a raya for this, because Rabbi Nachman says that Mashiach's parents will be So why is he telling you that?
they won't be so big tzaddikim, we'll come from a regular place.
That's
That's what it says.
He says oi, whatever, I don't know, What does it mean,
What does it right now? Where is this?
It's in Tzaddik. It's in Chaim Oran, I believe. I believe so. We'll look
so
at it.
in that regard, I have a question.
Yeah.
So if on that Bechina Rabbeinu is Mashiach ben Yosef, so how was he able to guide us Bechina of David Baalei Tshuva? and
Because David has no life of his own. Mashiach ben David gets all of his life force from Mashiach ben Yosef. And we learn it from Yehuda and Yosef. From this,
So he said that David and Shmuel.
right, because Yehuda and Yosef, according to Kabbalah, is the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David. And Yehuda's whole life story that comes about is completely intertwined with Yosef's. And his ability to be king is dependent on Yosef doing what he needs to do beforehand. So their whole life is completely intertwined.
You're telling me that basically Rabbeinu is Mashiach ben Yosef, and all of us have the Bechina of Mashiach ben David. That's what you're telling me?
It's a nice chiddush. We'll see.
Okay.
Yes, I'm with you.
What if you do the confession in front of the Emet Tzaddik, but afterwards you do the Avera?
Right, so the whole concept of real tshuva is that you try not to. So obviously, if you come to it again, you
For
have.
example, regular teshuva.
Yeah.
You make teshuva, and the last of the 4 parts of teshuva, you say not to do it again.
Right.
Right, and then could happen.
But it happens again, right?
Right.
So
So what
if it
happens?
happens again, you have to deal with the bone situation.
So, but you still see that everything is for the best.
So we have to wait till the end of the lesson to get more clarity. We have to wait till the lesson. This is by the way, this is how life works. I know that we're on our phones a lot and like things happen very quickly. Life doesn't actually work like that. Okay. No, it's very important for our generation to know, because it is the greatest confusion in our life that we all have something constantly in our hands that works one way, and life that doesn't work anything like that at all. That's very, very confusing and very, very damaging to a person's ability to experience reality in his life.
You have a smartphone.
Yes. I do.
You want to know something? Yehuda slept with his daughter-in-law.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how you're about to connect this thing with me.
It doesn't mean that like
There's a lot of
anything wrong.
there's a lot of reasons why people do certain things. I'm just trying to tell you something.
You made a sin.
I'm trying to explain to you something.
You said something that
I'm trying to explain that the way a smartphone works is not how life works. That's all I'm saying. And therefore, why are so many people in our generation depressed and anxious all the time? Because we're doing this and things are happening really quickly, and then we put our phones down and nothing's happening quickly. Just think about it. You have one last question? Go ahead. Have a good night.
you said that you have someone like a person or place or a thing is controlling your life, and you're a slave to that person, place, or thing.
But it's your influence. It's your authority, right?
All right. So if your malchus is from Hashem and you're more free,
You're completely free.
what is it? It's the Gemara that says about it. It says that the only person who's a slave to Hashem can be free.
Right.
Is that what you're
Yeah.
getting this from?
I'm not bringing it from anywhere. I'm bringing it from Likutei Moharan. Yes, it's connected to this.
Okay.
It's connected to this. Who's a ben chorin? Who's a free person? They call the Torah cherut. It's called freedom. Why is it called freedom? Because when you are directly receiving your influence from the Torah only, then you're free from everything else in the world. Any people, person, or thing. That's called being free. It's not freedom in the sense that we're taught that free means that I do whatever I want, because that doesn't even exist. Because nobody does whatever they want. Like let's say, for instance, after this class, if somebody wants to go get a Snicker bar, are they kosher? I don't know. Give me like, yeah, okay.
No,
So wait, one second.
I get it.
No,
Okay.
so you want to eat, so then your appetite becomes your king. So you're not free then either. You're never free. You always have to have an influence. However, you can, instead of choosing your appetite, you can choose Hashem. That's your point of freedom. And when you choose Hashem in every case, you're free. And that takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of tefillah. It takes a lot of prayer. It takes a lot of trying, falling and rising. And with Hashem's help.
You just said in the lesson that you take something in your life that happens to you and you have to speak it out to Hashem and His Bodhisattva.
Yes.
Rabbi Rosh says in the Garden of Emunah that the only way you can build faith is if you evaluate how is your faith, how was it over the past 24 hours while you do His Bodhisattva, and you speak to Him about every situation that you went through during the day.
That's a good practice.
Is that true though?
That's called Cheshbon Nefesh, and Chazal brings it down. It's not Rabbi Arush's chiddush. He's just talking about it again, even though nobody talks about it. It's very, very clear from Chazal. You should do something called Cheshbon Nefesh every day. That means that you look over your day and you look over, oh, I struggled here. Here, I felt like I made progress. Here, I think I could do better, but I'm proud of myself. This is something that Chazal say to do.
That's not what in the shir you just said to do. That's not what you meant.
It's all included in Hipodadut. Rabbi Nachman says in one place that the essence of Hipodadut is Cheshbon Nefesh, what you just spoke about. Elsewhere he says the essence of Hipodadut is Bitul, self-nullification. Elsewhere he says Hipodadut is where you can experience Ruach HaKodesh. So these are all different elements of Hipodadut. Now, that's why there's like this basic formula that a lot of people say. You thank Hashem for the things in your life. You talk about the things that you're struggling with. Heshbon Nefesh, you're going through your day. And you ask Hashem for help in whatever it is that you need help. And through this, you get to check off all the boxes. Okay?
There's no rules to Buddha.
But there's no rules.
There's no rules.
There's no.
If your mom is so jacked up and you need to go and scream first and then, thank you Hashem, I release myself. There's no rules. There's good preferences, there's advices. But there's no
You have
do
to.
or dies.
Yeah. Okay? Everybody have an amazing night. Tomorrow night, Rav Tomer is going to be here at 9 p.m. Every class is going to be at 9 p.m. And his class is going to be how to take teachings like this and bring them down practically. So it's very good to have both these classes because we're getting into very deep esoteric ideas. And even though I try my best to make them practical, it's still a Kutumaran. It's like the deepest book that there is. Okay? So it's very good to come tomorrow to Crossing the Narrow Bridge, where these are how to use all of these teachings in your practical day-to-day life. If you do both of those things, it's going to give you a real shot to be able to live with these teachings in your life and to achieve the things that we're speaking about. Then, Thursday night, we're going to, Bezrat Hashem, have our 4th Kumzitz. Last Kumzitz last week was really something incredible. It's like one of my all-time life highlights. Really, it was very, very special. So Bezrat Hashem, hopefully it just increases more and more and more. The Kumzitz is also a very important experience because one of the essential things that Rabbi Nachman is trying to bring over to you that he got from his great-grandfather, the Baal Shem Tov, is that learning Torah is one expression of connection to Hashem. Praying is another expression of connection to Hashem. Working is another expression of connection to Hashem. Being with your wife is another expression of connection to Hashem. The whole entire goal of the Baal Shem Tov, one of the essential goals, is to shatter this lie that Hashem only exists when you're reading a book. Hashem is in every aspect of your life. So one of the deepest ways to experience Hashem is through song. It's through being with your brothers with love. It's Rabbi Nachman says explicitly that listening to holy song can do something for you that nothing else can do. Okay, and Bezrat Hashem, this should be holy song on Thursday, and you should bring your friends and family, and we should continue to try and help this grow. This is the month of Elul. This is the month of tzedakah. If you're able to financially contribute and help, it is the biggest chut in the world. And if you're not able to, the essence of tzedakah is that you give of yourself to a great cause. So if you don't have physical money, but let's say you can get a friend to come, or you can shine this light on somebody else, talk to them about the classes, that's also in its essence called tzedakah, even though it's not physical money. Okay? Everybody have an amazing, amazing night.